Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it is time for our April 2025 release hop. Hey, so I'm using Jaded Blossom's new Gnome Dies Bride and Groom, the new Gnome Dies Wedding Add-ons, the new Stitched Arch Dies, Jaded Blossom's Gnome Dies, Jaded Blossom's Build-A-Booth Garden Add-ons, Jaded Blossom's Gnome Dies Garden Add-ons, the new Gnome Wedding Day stamp set, and Jaded Blossom's Cluster Dies. I'm using Echo Park's Wedding 12-inch solids, Rainbow Ever After 6-inch pad from Lawn Fawn, P13 stamping pad skin tones, and Echo Park's 6-inch wedding paper line. So first, I cut out the arch twice. So I cut the arch out once out of G-Min Tindalo craft cardstock. It's like a wood grain craft cardstock. Then I cut the center out again. So I've got like a frame. Then I cut the background piece out of Lawn Fawn's Rainbow Ever After 6-inch pad. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to create like an arch, like a wedding arch for the gnomes to stand under. Now on the inside, I'm going to add some paper from the Echo Park 6-inch wedding day pad. Now I am going to add, 1-inch strips from that paper line on the inside, just for fun. I'm going to add a couple of them. I also have a little, I guess they're like, I don't know if they're little tags or something that come in the pad. I cut that out using Jaded Blossom's milk carton die, that little layer there. And I'm going to add that to the inside of my card. And this will be my sentiment. So it says, best wishes to the Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. or something like that. And it's just a cute little sentiment. Now on the outside of my card, I'm going to stick down this little arched feature with some ATG tape. So I'm just trying to, add that. I'm going to add that to my A2 size card front. That's 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches, using Paper Ink white cardstock. That's kind of my preferred card base. Well, that's an adhesive eraser there. Kind of went outside the lines with my ATG tape. Okay, so now I cut out these vines from the Jaded Blossom Build-A-Booth Garden Add-ons. And I used the Echo Park Wedding Day solids. So I'm adding these on, and I'm going to add one to each side. There. So I'm just using that green solid paper from Echo Park. And I'm going to add one to the other side as well. So just adding glue along the whole vine. There. And I'm going to stick those down. And then I will trim off that overhang there with a pair of scissors. There. So I do weight it down. Now I'm going to add my little bouquet to my bride. Remember, you can watch me assemble that on the assembly video. So check those out. And now I'm adding on my little arm. I'm going to have the arm cover it like she's holding it in one hand. So I'm going to cover the other arm that I had in place. And then I'm going to add my little hand. So like she's holding her bouquet in one hand. Going to add her little tiara on. That's Recollections, or no, that's scrapbook.com holographic mirror cardstock in gold. With these little pieces, I use scraps all the time, so sometimes I don't know which one I used. So for this is the wedding bells, and that's from the Gnome Dies Wedding Add-ons. And you can watch me put that together on that assembly video. So I'm adding these to my card front. So it looks like there's little wedding bells hanging over top of their heads. So cute, right? And I'm going to use my reverse tweezers just to hold that in place because I used some dimensionals to give the bow dimension. And you can't really weight it down with an acrylic block, right? So now I did cut all the leaves out. That is from that the Build-A-Booth Garden Add-on set. With the same green, and I'm just going to add on the little leaves, and I've got a few extra to add here and there once I add my flowers. Now the flowers were cut from the Gnome Dies Garden add-ons. There's a couple different sizes of flowers on that set. And I did cut out light and dark pink cardstock from that Echo Park Wedding Day 12-inch solids. So I am adding on all of these little leaves with my embellishment wand and my Barely Art glue. There. Yeah, the neat thing is my son is getting married this year in October. So that's kind of exciting. So I'm going to actually have a use for one of these cards, right? So I'm going to add on these little hearts here and there, or not hearts, flowers here and there. And I just want it to kind of look like it's like viney and flowery, you know, kind of like a pretty ethereal kind of wedding arch. So I'm adding on some more of these little stickers here and there. And I just think that they look so pretty, and it's simple really, right? I also use Jaded Blossom's embellishment cluster dies to add centers to these flowers. Instead of the dies that you can cut, I decided to use those. So I'm getting my little groom and bride, you know, set. And aren't they fun? So my little groom has a suit and a hat that's cut from Enchanted Evening cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. So it's like a dark navy. The hat band is from, and the bow tie are from that Echo Park Wedding Day 12-inch solids. So now I'm adding on my ATG tape. Remember, everything that I used is always listed in my blog post, which is always linked under the video. So you can always go over there and look at the recipe, and everything that I used is always listed. So I'm going to add on my little gnome, my little groom gnome. I'm doing this just so I know if I can fit in any more flowers and where I'm going to put them. So for my little bride, I'm going to pop up one side of her, and then I'm going to add some ATG tape to the other, just where she overlaps the male gnome. You'll notice that I did use close to my heart white daisy ink around his mustache and beard, just to allow his mustache to pop a little bit. I kind of do that if I can, especially if the beard is really dark, right? Because then it's hard, like the mustache will blend right in and all it just looks like is just one big thing. So now I'm adding on my little bride. She also has American Crafts, kind of a lighter brown hair. Now I am going to add in some more little leaves here and there. I cut a few extras. And I just think it makes it look, fills it in a bit, makes it look a little bit pretty, right? So I'm going to sneak a few of these leaves by my flowers, just so it looks a little bit more, you know, pretty, floral, leafy. There it is. And I'm seeing if I can fit in, and I'm going to tuck another flower in there. And yeah, I think that it's very pretty. And I'm going to pop another one up over here. I did cut quite a few of them just so I had enough to kind of make it look, you know, full. There. And I think that is pretty good. So now I went ahead and I cut the heart dies from the Jaded Blossom Embellishment Cluster dies. And I used the Star Dream Metallic cardstock in quartz again. I got that at cutcardstock.com originally. And I'm adding little hearts to the centers of the flowers just for fun, just because I can. I'm using the two smallest sizes though. There, and I just think it looks pretty, and it's just got glittery. So now you've got hearts for wedding. You know, it's just fun. Fun and games, right? There, I'm going to add another one to the center of that one. And isn't that pretty? I just think it looks so pretty. There, I'm going to add a little heart to the center of her tiara too, because why not, right? Might as well embellish it like crazy. There we go. Now I'm taking one of the stamps from the Gnome Wedding Day stamp set, and I'm taking a risk. I'm going to freehand stamp the word congrats right above the bride's head. That's why I'm kind of pre-stamping it a few times so I don't screw it up. And I'm going to carefully, as I can, stamp that. And oh, turned out pretty good. So we've got congrats, and that is it. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, be inspired by the team. The Jaded Blossom store to get your hands on these products. And check out my videos for the release and review, and you'll see if you need this stuff in your life. Thanks, everybody. Bye.